Hey. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. That's us. We're gone. Goodbye. Hi. Hello, everyone. And welcome to Ben and Declan, sans Declan, just Ben on a roll, which is tonight's show. They gave me the keys to the Twitch channel, which is a mistake, I think, because who knows what could happen. I could be saying all sorts of stuff up here, but I will tell you what I am going to say. I am going to say that tonight's stream is going to be predominantly about all my Athventure Con plans, because come tomorrow, I'll be on the road I'm driving down with some of the Heartfire Tales guys, and I'll be there all weekend, and I'm going to get up to some panel-y stuff, some gamey stuff, some everything stuff. I make no secret of this, it is my favorite event in the TTRPG Irish calendar, which is good. Let me know if you can hear me, see me, do all the usual techie stuff, because it's just me on the ones and twos, which I've never known why they call them that. Binary, maybe? I do know they check like that. 1, 2, 1, 2. So maybe it's something to do with that. You know what? I can actually check myself, because I do have the stream open. And I'm coming through loud and clear. It's a success, baby. Yes. So tonight's show is me chatting about Athventure Con. And then, which we might do some, maybe I'll do this first. I came up with a new combat mechanic for sort of D&D, but maybe for any TTRPG. Oh, I see. My audio is a bit up and down. That could be the way I speak. That could just be me. Maybe it is coming through my Yeti. Let me know if it persists, because I was moving back and forth from the mic in a very unprofessional way there, out of pure excitement. But if it's a little clearer, let me know. Otherwise, I can always just switch to the microphone that's here. At least there, it's on my head. So wherever my head goes, the mic will follow. Yes. So at Athventure Con this weekend, that's going to be the predominant topic of today's stream. If you're going, let me know in chat. If you have other cons you're looking forward to, let me know in chat. If you are running games and things, let me know in chat. But yeah, how do we want to start? Do we want to start with my little combat encounter? No, I don't think so. I think we'll start with, sorry, I just poured myself a little kombucha. I think we'll start with, suddenly without Declan, I've become a douchebag streamer. It turns out he was keeping me sane this entire time, to no one's surprise. Let's start with Athventure Con, I think. I think that's the good way to get through the first half of the show. So over we go to the show and tell ball, where I will chat through their website, where I'm going to appear. Some panels I'm on, some panels other people are running, games other people in D8 are running, because there's a big D8 crew going down, and there'll be myself obviously representing Homebrew as well, and I'll be dipping into other people's content as I'm wont to do. So I'll be kind of all over the place, but let's pop on over. Okay, now give me one moment, because I have set this up, hopefully, that I can interact with it and you can see it. This is live on the Athventure Con website. Whoa, who's this new guy? He knows how to tech. He's added applause. He's using stingers for transitions. He's on top of the world, baby. So, come Saturday. I suppose I'll start here. If you don't know what Athventure Con is, it's a convention that started 3 years ago. So this is Athventure Con 3, Dice Hard with a Vengeance. And it is a charity fundraiser convention in aid of the Athenry Adventurers, who are a youth club who run TTRPG games and sessions and do lovely, if they're not playing TTRPGs, they'll do board game nights, they do trips out with their club members, and everyone who runs it is dead sound, and they invite a bunch of GMs and DMs down for the weekend. We run games. They have a surprisingly great track record of every year more and more games that aren't Dungeons and Dragons get played. So it's a great opportunity to play test new systems, to dip into things that you mightn't usually come across. The games I'm running are 2 new systems. I'm play testing. I've decided this year to sort of focus on play testing new games, to kind of put them through their paces and give players a chance to try them out before they are sort of launched officially live, I suppose. So it's a bit of a teaser sneak peek at how the systems run. In fact, I think Sign is live and available, but I know they're working towards a kind of bigger launch. So with that in mind, why don't we start? Because they've done an incredible job at making an interactive schedule, which is unreal. And also this map by Jog Brozin. You know me. You know I love a map. You know I love a map. So you might even recognize some of these maps. I believe Jog did Dragon Meat, the Dragon Meat map last year, maybe from years before as well. But beautiful map work, as always. So, into the schedule. It runs over 2 days. 2 days of absolute mayhem. We're heading down tomorrow because there also is like a welcome event on Friday night. And that's a good chance to mingle, to say hello to people. There's so many people I'm looking forward to meeting for the first time in person and catching up with, because I haven't seen them in a while. I might not have seen them since the last Athventure Con. So very excited to see and catch up and chat to all the friends I've made in the TTRPG community. And if you're in chat and you're heading down, let me know and we can meet up. Or if you're watching this on VOD, one of the days and you see me, just come up to me. I'll probably be in some of the days, I'll be in my On A Roll costume wardrobe thing. Other days I won't be. But if you are heading, or if you've been before, let me know. And if you've ever played a game for the first time in a convention that stuck with you, I'd love to chat about that as well. Diving in. So, a little breakdown of how Adventure Con works. Probably recognize it to similar con structures. There's 3 game sessions. So the first one kicks off around 10 and runs till 12. And then there's an afternoon one and an evening one. I am running a game, I believe, in the afternoon session. I think my first game starts at 2 p.m. So I've got the morning to play some games, to wander around. I'm one of those, I don't know how you are in conventions, but I am one of those people who likes to just sort of buzz around the place. And then I rarely, even though there's so many games I want to play, I rarely sign up to a game in advance because I'm running games and because I'm doing some panels and stuff like that. I just thought, well, I'd rather give people who are attending a chance to kind of sign up for the games, and I'll just like fill in a space if needed. So that's my general plan over the weekend. It's usually my general plan at a lot of conventions. And I find it works because it's not trying to cram too much in. Worst case scenario, I miss a system that I wanted to try out. But on the flip of that, it just stays with me and I go, oh, I should really pick that up, or I'll try it out with friends. So now this is, if you're on the Athventure Con site, this is all interactive. So if I click in here, it'll show me all the session 1 games, etc., etc. And there's so many amazing panels. You've got TTRPG module design with special guests. If you are a fan of cosplay, there's a big cosplay element to it as well. If you're looking at voice tech and TTRPGs, there's basically something for everyone. And actually, if you are a big fan of Baldur's Gate 3, they have Lauren Stick down there. He'll be chatting all things game design. And that's one of those ones that, unfortunately, I'll be running a game, so I won't be able to make it. But I will be trying to pick their brain throughout the weekend. So we got breakfast. It's bigger and better than ever before. I feel like this little pig in a suit is a little nod to something I'm running later on in the weekend, because that's how I feel when I run it. So, very first game that I'm running on the weekend, and I'm going to cut to that to show you now. Give me 1 second. Streaming magic. I am starting Athventure Con this year by running a game created by Julian Fried and Jason Knox, two game designers from Toronto, Canada. And if that sounds familiar, you might know of that place because I used to live there and I used to play this game years ago. I'm talking maybe a decade ago, in its sort of early formation with Julian. Julian was my DM. So when I lived in Toronto the first time, I didn't really play any Dungeons and Dragons, but I did play Sign a lot. And Sign is a post-apocalyptic humans v aliens take back the Earth sort of game. It's very cinematic in its design and its language. Moments are almost split into episodic vignettes. And Julian is one, a fantastic improviser, part of a group called Sex T-Rex, but also an incredible storyteller and thinks and sees in visual language. So even before, here's a little backstory, I suppose, even before Sign, the TTRPG, was in existence, I first met Julian because I was auditioning for a short film or series called Wheelhouse, which shared a little bit of, there's a little bit of cross over, I feel, between Sign and Wheelhouse. And the interesting thing about Wheelhouse, the series, which I think you can still find on YouTube, you'll see a very young me, is that the entire series is improvised. So we did obviously a little bit of rehearsal, we sort of fleshed out our characters, but each scene, there's no script, we're just sort of making it up on the spot, which reminds me and echoes the experience of playing TTRPGs. So you know your character, but you're kind of thrown into different situations, and you navigate through dialogue and action from A to B, you know, stuff like that. So I played a character called Soul, and I still have my little Wheelhouse badge and fleece from that shoot. I think back on it very fondly. It is a wonderful memory I have. But from Wheelhouse, I meet Julian. Julian was the director of it, and the interesting thing about that project was that not only was it improvised, but it was also a choose your own adventure for the viewers. So as we've released it live at the end of every episode, people who were watching at the time would vote whether to go one way or the other, and then the story would update accordingly. Sorry, I should mention a little bit of housekeeping, because you might notice, and I've just noticed it there because I saw the captions are working to the best of their ability. I don't have the sub box on, but I do have closed captions on. So if you need captions for the stream, if you hit the closed captions button on Twitch, you should see them come up on the video for you. It's pretty good, as in it's picked up on my Irish accent and adjusted accordingly, I would hope. As with all closed caption systems, it can be hit and miss, but if you do need it, it is there. You just pop closed captions on, and it should come through. I think I set that up right. If you can't tell from anything I've ever done on the internet, I'm not usually the producer techie type. So for a solo stream, and I think it's going pretty well tech-wise, hopefully. If you can hear me out there and you can see me, bare minimum, that's pretty good. So backwards to Sign. Sign is a post-apocalyptic end-of-the-world game where you play one of three types of characters. You can either play a human, and you're just a human, but as part of the lore of Sign, there is there was an inventor called Marcus Kingwell who started a company called Chili Con, who sort of developed and crafted and was the inventor of a type of human called the Catalyst. And they're superhuman, super soldiers, genetically modified, and they're sort of the base of the system. So when the world was invaded by an alien known as Stock, and they tried to terraform the Earth, Marcus Kingwell, the founder of Chilegon, released the Catalyst program. And so these are super fast, super smart, super ready to kick some alien butt humans, but lacking some of the more empathetic, they were made in a time of war, and they only have the features that wartime Catalysts would have. Which brings me to the other part of the game. You can play a New Age Catalyst. So, spoiler, the aliens win, and some of humanity, at least associated with Chilegon, retreat to the moon, to a lunar base. And that's where Marcus Kingwell comes up with these New Age Catalysts. So as players, you are sort of in this lunar base. It has a name. I should know this, because I'll be running one of the potential games I'm running at Athventure Con will be this story called Moonshot. Potentially the players might pick that one. So I'll learn that over the weekend, or before I get there, I suppose. All to say that you can play New Age Catalyst, a little bit more empathetic, a little bit more capable of adaptability, a wartime Catalyst who have these kind of strong mutagens, a bit more of your barbarian fighters, or human, who mightn't have the speed or the strength of a catalyst, but do have the adaptability and extra feats and skills. And the adventures and the games can vary from, go kick some alien butt, to navigate the political intrigue and help burgeoning societies or little towns sort of deal with bandits, deal with territory grabs, deal with the worst of humanity, because when most of the world is terraformed by this alien, pockets of humanity get a bit isolationist, and you can sort of tell human stories, you can tell alien stories, and then there's some other nice elements to it, including APOC and Xeno animals and creatures. So there's plenty to explore. Obviously, I'm not going to explore all of that in one shot. And something interesting about this system is they purposely set it in the real world. So a lot of the TTRPG materials, the starter materials for Any Telling Adventures, they're based in Canada because that's where Julian and Jason are. I'm toying with either doing the same at Adventure Con or potentially setting it closer to home, setting it either in Ireland or the UK or somewhere in Europe. So that's all there to grab. And what they do have online on the website is, as more people play this game, you can upload your party's adventures, and that will sort of inform the wider world of Sign. You can also check out Sign as a podcast if you want to hear some amazing voice actors play through this sort of gritty, down on their luck, post-apocalyptic alien invasion sort of world, if that's your jam. For me, it is. And I'm so glad that when I asked Julian, hey, can I run your system at Adventure Con? He said, absolutely, Ben. Go wild. So he sent me everything I need to know to run it. So I'm very excited for that reason to run this game. Now, back over to our Adventure Con schedule. Here we are again. My Saturday starts with a little pottering around. A little just hanging out with people and having a good time and getting breakfast and coffees and chatting. I might jump in on a session 1. I'll see. But if not, then I'll definitely be making my way to these panels and potentially even joining the Leathercraft workshop. Or jumping in for a game of Dungeons & Dragons. You might know Dungeons & Dragons. Steve's been on this show talking about this game. So I'll potter around, then I'll run Sign. From then on out, my Saturday gets pretty hectic in only the funnest way. So if you're at Adventure Con and you want to see me wherever I will be, the next place will be the guys on Hardfire Tales have asked me to join their live show. So I'll be on their live show as a little special guest. I don't know what to expect, but I think it's fair to say they don't either because they're doing a sort of TTRPG Mad Lib situation. So I'm very excited to try that out. And then immediately after that live show, that's where I am doing something a little bit. I have no idea if this is going to work, but I think it's going to be fun. So I've got 2 panels that I'm sort of hosting or running over the weekend. You call them panels. I don't know. Every year I feel a little bit silly because people run serious, helpful, genuinely amazing panels, and then I come along with my bullshit and sort of mess things up. So the 2 things I'm going to do over Adventure Con, which I'm looking forward to, I've probably put more effort into these than the actual games I'm running. Don't tell the players who have signed up to my games. Do tell the people who want to come to these panels. But the very, very first one is a spelling bee for cool spellcasters, Big B's Big Baffling Spelling Bee. And it's going to be a very irritating panel for the people who are on it. Hopefully a very entertaining panel for the people who attend. It's sort of a game show spelling bee, not too dissimilar, if not directly ripped off from Guy Montgomery's Gaimon Spelling Bee, but all TTRPG related and specifically all Dungeons and Dragons related. So that'll be my very first thing, which is immediately after the Heartfire Tales live show. And speaking of Heartfire Tales, it will be, I believe Dylan from Heartfire is going to join me. And I also have 2 members of Adventure Con, or the Athenry Adventurers, and then Dave from the Emerald Collective is going to join. So that's Saturday. And it gets a little I get a break then, which is good. Uh, can you tell I love these transitions? I sure do. Um, I believe I have a break until later that night. Although I don't see it on the schedule. Maybe I scrolled down too far. That's why. Because come 10 p.m., so the challenge for me will be like not enjoy a lot of drink in the bar or anything like that. But come 10 p.m., I'll be joining the guys from the Emerald Collective for Whose NPC Is It Anyway? Where I believe they've gotten suggestions of characters, classes, races, sort of little one-line descriptions of NPCs, and it will be my job and everyone else's job on stage to guess who those NPCs are. Now, I hear you. I know what you're saying. I hear what you're thinking. I agree with you. Ben, seems like you're running very few games and doing a lot of improvisational comedy. I didn't know you're an improviser. I'm not. So I'm kind of terrified of what is going to happen. So that will be an adventure in and of itself. Just noticed there, as of 58, you made this schedule? This schedule is Chef's Kiss. Actually, the entire website is Chef's Kiss. Everything, you can clearly see the passion and love and attention that has goes into Athventure Con every year, but this year, and I think you know from our little GM side chat with all the GMs, how much you're blowing our minds and how jealous we are of all your incredible talents and skills across all of the committee. So, following Saturday comes Sunday. Historically speaking, it's been that way since the weeks were invented, I think. Then we move into Sunday. So my next session will be session 4 in the morning time. I don't know why I do this to myself every year. I just sort of enjoy the pain, I guess, because Saturday night tends to be a lot of people socializing, having a couple of drinks, staying up late. People stay up very late and impresses me every year. I try to go to bed at a reasonable time, and I mostly succeed. I remember last year for this session, I ran a game of Wander Home, which is very cozy, non-combat. You take on sort of an animal creature and a role, and you sort of wander the lands of this very lovely space in search of what home means to you, which is all very lovely. And the players I had were so nice, and we were all just a little bit tender, and I think we all cried too much. I remember at one point, might have been Jonathan from Athventure Con, might have been one of the other committee members. We didn't even stay at a table. We had a table, and we're just like, well, we just moved to the couches, and we all just sort of folded into these couches and just cried for 3 hours, I think. This year, I'm not sure if that's going to happen, because I am play testing a new game, which I know very little about. I'm going to sort of fly by the seat of my pants. Is that the phrase? Over the weekend, and hopefully players don't mind as well, we're all going to be learning together a game called Portal Tomb. Now, Portal Tomb doesn't use dice, from what I can tell, but instead it uses runes. It has sort of old, ancient Irish, Celtic vibes. From what I remember off the top of my head, and you think, Ben, shouldn't you have looked this up before the stream? You're right again. Extra points for you. I gave it a quick look, but I believe the Queen of the Court has died, and you as players sort of investigate the intrigue and try to like status climb or check. I'll have to learn how to play it. That's the hope for session 4, which after that I will be running immediately over to the Dopes and Dragons live show to check them out. I met these guys at Gamerfest. They're both lovely, and I'm going to try just peg it over there to stick around pretty much in this room for the rest of Sunday before I travel home, because I definitely want to be at the Q&A with Lauren Stick for Baldur's Gate 3. And then following that, we have what you would have seen just a moment ago, TTRPG Trials and Tribunal, which is something I brought to the convention last year, and we're bringing back this year. I think it's fair to say back by popular-ish demand in that I wasn't going to submit it. I was just going to submit the spelling bee, and the very nice people at Athventure Con were saying, "Would you not bring it back?" And so I will. And the plan there, just so you know, and if anyone has anything they're doing over Athventure Con and what they're looking forward to, please jump into chat. Let me know, because otherwise it's just an hour of me talking at you, which I'm happy to do, but welcome for you to jump in as well. I also understand the sort of contradiction in that statement, because unless you're in Ireland and also going to Adventure Con, you might be sitting there going, yeah, but I'm not going. So thanks, but no thanks. In which case, what you should stick around for is the debate we're going to have a little bit later on this new combat mechanic that I hate, love, maybe it would work. I don't know. I feel like there's something in it, and I want to like bounce it off people. So if you hang around in chat for that, let's figure that out together. It has to exist in the system already, I'm sure. Anyway, enough teasing of that. My time at Adventure Con this weekend ends with TTRPG Trials, where I'll be going around during the convention trying to get stories of DMs or players who've been sort of hard done by a calling or a rule. Whether it happened over the convention, which is always great because you can have people in the room literally defending themselves or making their case. But it can also happen from home games. We've put the call out on social media. If you have a story from your table, a time you were dealt an injustice, please do get in touch and we will add it to our list of cases for TTRPG Trials, which, now that I say it probably should be TTRPG Tribunal because that would be confusing on this channel specifically, because every second Thursday, when it's not Ben and Declan On A Roll, there is TTRPG Trials with Amber, where they try out new systems, and they're currently trying out Stewpot. And speaking of, that's a nice little segue, I think. Speaking of Stewpot, that is what Amber is going to be running at Adventure Con for one of their games. So, if you don't know Stewpot, and if you don't know Amber, you probably know Amber. Amber is the voice of Hephaestus on Romancing the Dungeon, is a member of D8 right here on this channel, and is currently running through Stewpot on TTRPG Trials on this channel, and will be running it at AdventureCon. Amber is running 2 games over the course of the weekend, if you want to check them out, if you want to play with them. The first one is Stewpot, which, from what I've learned from TTRPG Trials, is, I suppose you'd call it like a retirement game. So the story after the story, the campaign after the campaign, in not an ad pod way. But you play an adventurer who sets up a fantasy tavern. And you run that tavern and you play mini games and you sort of invest, you level up through leveling up your fantasy tavern with your party. If you want to see how it's played, I highly recommend heading over to the D8 YouTube channel. It's probably even still on the D8 Twitch channel, the VOD from last Thursday when the guys played through a session of Stewpot, and I believe that story continues next Thursday as well. And then after that, they're going to review the system. We're going to sit down, see what they like, see what they didn't like, chat through it before they move into a new TTRPG system to trial. Right? The second game, and I'm so upset that I don't get to play in this game. Amber's also going to run Supernatural, the role-playing game, which just looks like, I'd imagine it's a little monster of the week. I'd imagine, fight monsters, kill things, family business, all that kind of stuff. Very cryptid-based. I'm very annoyed that I won't get to play in this game. I'm almost certain I have a clash with one of the things that I'm doing one of the other times. Probably either the TTRPG Tribunal or the Spelling Bee. One of those clashes with this game system when this is being run. So yeah, this is something that I'm just going to have to pick Amber's brain about afterwards, and potentially as they run through all the systems on TTRPG Trials, turn around to Amber and be like, can we run this on stream? Because, I don't know, you watch 15 seasons of something, you you have to at least like the thing, I think. Endings aside, it's still a lot of fun, and it's just, I don't know, probably loads of fun in a role-playing way, putting on your grizzly slow voice and whatever the character's name is, just shouting it at them over and over again. Who knows? So, that ultimately speaking, and I'm glad because that took about half the show, which was my intention, is my Athventure Con weekend. There's other things I'm looking forward to. If I can, I'm going to try squeeze into a game of Fate Earth with Neil, who you recognize from this stream as well. We interviewed Neil a good while ago about Fate Earth, and I think the morning on the Saturday is my best opportunity to do that, although the table might be full. So we'll see. If it is full, I'll try out something else, but I am looking forward to that. In between the Dopes and Dragons live show and the Baldur's Gate 3 Q&A, Jog Brosen, who you might recognize from the map we were looking at a moment ago, is also running a map-making workshop. I'm going to try run across that because if anyone knows me, you know I love a good map. I love cartography. If I could do anything, it would be draw fantasy maps for the rest of my life. I'm not even good at it. I think that's what really makes it like a hobby I enjoy. It's like the final product of the maps I make, but I just love doing it. So I'm going to run across there if I can, if I remember to, because the important thing about conventions, and this goes for Adventure Con, but it also goes for any convention you might be attending in your life, hydration, getting food, resting, just taking it easy is also a huge part of it. I do know the guys have set up quiet rooms for quiet sessions. There's little breakout areas. They've done an incredible job of setting up a wonderful space. There's a little kind of food and drink area near the entrance they've set up this year. It's going to be incredible. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to get on the road, and genuinely you might feel it tomorrow, sort of late evening if you're in Ireland or your location's equivalent. A wonderful sigh of relief. I love the job I have. I love the job I do 9 to 5, but we're in a crunch time at the moment, so it's a little hectic. And this weekend is just this nice oasis in the middle of a busy work period. And that. Oh, hey, Dragons, how you doing? I'm just talking about how much I'm looking forward to hitting the road tomorrow, and how my plan initially, when work wasn't all that busy, was to take a half day and leave early. And work has been pretty hectic, so I'll be essentially bolting it. Yeah, no, don't worry, I will. I'm bolting it out of 10 to get to where I live to pick up Dylan and Jim from Heartfire and then make it across. The reason Dylan's saying in chat, get us there safe, is because I'm a new driver. I got a big old N on my car, and this is my first long drive on a motorway. It should be totally fine. Whoever's sitting in the front seat beside me will be on the duty of just hey, what's this button do in my car? Well, what's that kind of about? Which it's all good. I've been out and about, and a strange thing happens when you're driving. You hate it for ages, and then you love it. And I've even done that bougie driving thing last weekend, or the weekend before. Was it the weekend before? Somewhere close to Valentine's Day. My wife Kim was feeling quite sick, and so we had plans, but we kind of put them aside, and we were going to head out. And instead, as people who now have a car and drive, we did what I can only describe as pure indulgence bouginess, which is we drove to our old apartment in Dublin and ordered food to there because there was a restaurant near there that we liked, and then brought that food home, which you'd never do if you were taking public transport. But as a nice little let's just go here. That was our adventure, and may there be many more. As we learn things like, how do the headlights work? Oh, that's how they work. The things they don't really teach you because you don't need until you actually use them, and then you use them and you go, oh, that's easy. That's just second nature. Anyway, this stream isn't about driving. That's 2 weeks from now. But this stream is about Adventure Con. Let's go back to actually, you know what I am going to go to? Let's go to the map. Why not? Have a look at this map, because that's the last thing we're talking about. The map by Jog Brosen. Brogson? I'm probably mispronouncing that. But in chat, Adventure Max, looking forward to a slider. I believe that's taking place, if you're heading there, over in Umbra's Haunt, so through the entrance. All the games are taking place in the game hall on the ground floor, and then all the panels and stuff are upstairs. So if you are going, remember to head upstairs. There were certain things I said I'd talk about now that I'm here on stream. I know what it is. It can happen later. That's a little housekeeping for the end. And yes, so 58 in chat knows the road well, and knows the exact point in which I'll be focusing very highly, which is the turn from the M4 to the M6. We'll be doing, not that you need to know where we are, but we'll be making our way up along the M50 and then across, as far as I know. Which I thought was M7, but maybe that's when I go down to record when I see the dungeon. Who knows? It's a new frontier. I might just sing A Whole New World. Yes, the Dylan and Dragons. Very good point. I did bring this up. I brought this up at the beginning, but no harm in repeating again. I love a stinger. So right here, which I think I can click on, and it'll bring us to. So Saturday afternoon and evening, I will be guesting on the Heartfire Tales live show. And I think this is what I was saying earlier, and I think it's fair to say, I don't know what I'll be doing, but I don't know if you guys know what you're doing either. And I don't mean that in a kind of like you haven't planned something. It's because we're doing ad-libs, right? We're doing Mad Libs. As far as I know, that's what the plan is. And using my zero improv experience, it'll be a great time. Yes, confirmation from chat. We are doing Mad Libs, TTRPG, D&D. So myself and Dylan will be here on stage. And then almost immediately, both running to... I'm glad, Dylan, your live show is first. Because I don't know if you'll talk to me after the spelling bee, or on the ride home, or any of Sunday, or I don't know what we'll figure it out. Well, we'll see how it goes. But yes, that's in a nutshell what I'll be up to over Adventure Con. As you can see, there's loads of panels and workshops on. There's so much to see and play and do and learn. It is honestly a highlight of Ireland's TTRPG convention scene. And I won't get sad. I was about to get sad because I was like, Sunday will be over again for a year. But I should live in the moment and look forward to what will happen this weekend. So, with that in mind, let's talk combat. Let's talk about what we're going to do. This will be the end of the show in a way. Oh, I should probably tell you where Declan is. There's a couple before we get to combat. Declan couldn't be with us this evening because he is in the underground. He is hanging out with Hades. He's going to chill there for a while. He's probably, right now, based on what I know, it's 8 minutes past 8. He is currently watching Orpheus. My assumption, they're about 40 minutes into the show. My assumption is currently watching Orpheus and a bunch of miners from the underground making their way to Hades Town, taking the long way down through the Underdark, past the Shadow of Night, doing an incredible light sequence as Orpheus, who I think he's seeing the original Broadway cast, is played by Reeve Carvey. So Declan is most definitely crying somewhere right now. And that's why he can't be here tonight. And I would not rob him of that experience because without any exaggeration or hesitation, I think Hades Town is probably my favorite musical. I've seen it three times. I don't know. But I will go see it again. And Azo58 in chat brings up a very good point. Although I do my level best every year, to make the wonderful AV crew who are there filming all the panels and filming all the shows to share afterwards. Every time I go into a panel, they're like, so what's your setup? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to be like breaking sightlines all over the place. They're like, great, doesn't make for great video content. And I'm like, I'm sorry about that. There's very little I can do to change how much I like to move around. Potentially with Spelling Bee, I'll be in one place, and as will the kind of contestants. TTRPG Tribunal, Ben, speak. TTRPG Tribunal, I'll probably be in one place as well. So yeah, anyone who's watching this, you'll probably see it on our YouTube channel after the fact. And you can check out previous year's Adventure Con panels and shows, including a panel from year 1 with Wes and Paul and Keelan from Homebrew Quest. And for anyone who's wondering when the Tribunal is on, that is 3 p.m. on Sunday, as far as I know. But you know what's good? You know what's handy about not knowing exactly when? The guys at Athventure Con have done a wonderful job on their website with their interactive schedule. I believe it's 3 p.m. on Sunday, which means that come 4 p.m.-ish, I'll be saying my goodbyes for another year and hitting the road-ish. But Dylan, and if you need to stay longer, we can stay longer. One more, I'll keep that housekeeping for the very end. That will be the last thing. So this combat thing that I've been going through my mind. I was reading Fabula Ultima, which is a JTTRPG system. Actually, I think I have it here. Give me 1 second. I was reading this at the time. I was reading this at the time. This is the game that I promised Declan I would run for him this year as part of his Christmas present, and I'm also going to give him this book as part of his Christmas present. And it reminded me, because myself and Declan have been chatting about how to run combat for Romancing the Dungeon, especially in an audio podcast format, where when we record, and how it usually works is like we'll go down, we'll spend the day recording, and usually combat happens towards like the end of a session. And by then, all of us are trying our best to stay like energetic and attentive and you know, in the moment. And combat is one of those things that can kind of slow down the vibe of a game, I find. Especially if you've someone like me who's like a fighter with 6 attacks and action surge, and it's not like I can plan too much ahead, because depending on how one attack goes, I might change my tactics for the next one, if that makes sense. So if I try a sort of grasping arrow, then suddenly my dice rolls, you know, I might target someone else, or there might be advantage on certain rolls that I hadn't accounted for, so I can't just like roll up stuff. So we were chatting about it, and we think we might borrow a combat mechanic from this book here. And how Fabula Ultimate runs combat is back and forth players DM. And the way you figure out who goes first is that the DM and the players do a group check. So only one person at the table rolls initiative for the players, but everyone else can roll, and they're only trying to beat a base 10. So if I roll and I get, you know, a 12, including my initiative bonus, I've beaten a base 10. And if I'm not the main person rolling, I just give a bonus to the person who is. So say Sam, who plays Nathaniel, and Ivan on the show, if they're doing their initiative roll, and they're kind of on behalf of the group rolling, they might roll a 12 plus their initiative plus 2 or whatever, so 14. But because I succeeded, that's another +1, so 15. And then if Amber, who plays Festa, succeeds, then 16. But if Clodagh, who's played by Eilish, didn't succeed, then it would stay 16. And then you're just making sure that that beats whatever Declan's DM has rolled. So if Declan rolls higher, bad guys go first, or the other side, or the combatants, or whatever way you want to do it. But if we roll higher, we go first. And then it just goes back and forth. So player, DM, NPC, back and forth and back and forth. And you can change the order of who goes when. So if you were a cleric and you have some buff spells, you could go, I'm going to go top of the round and I'm going to cast Bless on everyone. And then if I was waiting for someone to get into position because I'm a rogue, I'll wait until the end and then I'll do my sneak attack, that kind of thing. Initially I thought, well, that might slow things down as people try to figure out when they want to go, but I'm sure the more you play with people, the more it flows in a nice, easy way. That's not the combat mechanic that I thought of in the shower. I don't know how I feel about this, but I think it could be good. Instead of rolling dice, don't get me wrong, I love rolling dice. There's probably enough dice rolling in the game of Dungeons & Dragons to satisfy my love of rolling dice. I was thinking if you had a deck of 52 cards, so a 52 card deck, not with numbers and faces and aces, but with every variation of attack combination you could have. So if I rolled 52 attack rounds, each card is that sort of combination of dice. And then so when I take my turn as a fighter, this mechanic, I think, only works for people who have very straightforward turns, like your barbarians, your fighters, etc. Instead of rolling all these dice, doing all the math, etc., I merely take 6 cards out of this deck. I shuffle the deck, take 6 cards out, and then I just flip them over. So I go, oh, actually, with this card, all my attacks hit, and this is the damage. With this card, only 3 of them hit, and this is damage. With this card, I miss the entire time. So then I can, as a player, I think the reason I hate this is because I like rolling dice. I think the reason I like this is because I can spend more time, like more mental capacity, adding flavor and texture to my turn, instead of doing that kind of classic TTRPG thing and being like, okay, so 15 plus 5 because I take a sharpshooter, plus the advantage, all that kind of mental math. Then I thought of something different. And I think I like this more in a weird way. So if you had a deck of cards with all your various different types of attacks on them, in terms of advantage, disadvantage, that would still work the same way. Maybe even have a sort of separate deck for those. In terms of crits, you'd have crit cards, so you pull it up and like, oh, crit card, great. So that worked there. But this other mechanic, if anyone plays, I don't know what the name of this card game is called officially, but we've always called it Shithead. And this is the one where like lower than 7s, Jack reverses, 2s brings everything down to 2s, 3 burns the deck, or red 10s burn the deck, something's invisible, can't remember which one. But that sort of trump game that you play with cards, the way that ends is you have a sort of series of cards in front of you face up on top of a series of cards face down. And I thought it might be interesting, and maybe there's a TTRPG system out there that already uses this, in which case, if you do know it, please let me know. At the start of combat, you deal, let's say, it's hard to know because you don't know how long combat's going to go, right? But let's say it's 3 and 3. So 3 cards face down, 3 cards face up. And then when it comes around to your turn, the face up cards, you decide which one you want to use. So you kind of know if you're going to hit or miss for at least 3 turns. But the interesting thing is you don't know what's on the cards below that. And you have to clear your top layer before you can get to the bottom layer. So if you go, okay, this one hits, but you're stuck with one that like misses a couple of times, you have to do that for a round before you can get to the other cards. And maybe that's really boring from the suspense side of things. But part of me from like the storyteller side of things thinks, okay, so I know there's a miss coming up, or like I'll tactically use this miss in a flavor way to kind of keep combat moving smoothly in a more storytelling and less like battle game way. I don't know how I feel about it. But then what I do know is I love that moment in Shithead where it's all face down cards and you're like, I hope it's this one. Bam. And that feels exciting, where it's like, I'm going to pick this card and pull it over and see if I hit or miss. As exciting as rolling dice. That's my pitch, and I'm not convinced by it. But if you're watching and it's intriguing or it's interesting, either come harass me at Athventure Con, if you're going to be there, or come hang over in the D8 Discord. Let's discuss it there. We can discuss it in chat here. That was my general thinking. I don't know if it works, but there has to be a TTRPG system in which cards and sort of play, like when combat happens, you sort of play a game of cards almost, would be a fun and good thing. I don't know. That's my, you know, yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it's right. It's kind of interesting. It's a little different. It's sort of interesting. It's, I wouldn't know until I did it. And what all I'm trying to eradicate for is, especially for like podcasts and streams, just speeding up combat, not speeding up combat, but like cutting out some of the mechanical elements. Which, to be honest, even as I say this, when I listen to podcasts, I don't mind it. I don't mind does a 17 hits. Okay, it's this damage. Like, not everything needs flavor. And sometimes it's just easier to listen and to digest stuff when it is just that simple kind of back and forth of numbers and hits and otherwise. Because you leave the flavor then for the big impact moments. So there is merit in that for sure, that it's like start a combat, just let's trade numbers for a little bit. And then as it gets towards the climax of combat, that's when we can start weaving in the speeches, the sort of like final words and the kind of like flavor part of the attacks and actions. And there's probably stuff with the deck of cards that, like, I don't know, maybe there's someone I don't play Magic, and I bet it's not the same, but there could be someone out there being like, yeah, Ben, you're just describing a game of Magic. Go play Magic. maybe that's it. Maybe I need a new hobby. Although I hear my wife somewhere in the house going, no, don't. But yeah, that was my little pitch. Okay, so that was sort of all I had planned for tonight's stream. A little tight hour-ish kind of stream. But before you go, there is a little bit of D8 dungeon, romancing the dungeon housekeeping that I would love your help with. So at the moment, although Declan is away, he never stops working. He is currently cutting together the next episode of Romancing the Dungeon, which comes out not tomorrow, but the following Friday. And we are looking for anyone who wants to be a voice on the show to submit rumors about what they think has happened immediately following a prison break and a riot in the city of Galeshire, with the main sort of heroes and the kind of heroes of Tezrab, which is Vesta, Nate Ivan, Clodagh, Fia, and then me, AJ. So if you have a rumor that you would like to record and submit, you can send it over to romancingthedungeon@gmail.com. You can head over to the D8 Discord and send it to us there. You might be thinking, oh man, now I feel called out for not listening to Romancing the Dungeon. I don't want to submit a rumor that I don't know enough about the immediate action. Like, I say this, even Amber, who plays Vesta, messaged in the Discord being like, I'm not caught up on the episodes, guys, I'm so sorry. It's like, that's, so don't worry if you're there being like, no, I feel bad now. It might even make the rumors funnier, more entertaining if they're just totally nonsensical. They don't have to make sense in the literal connecting to the story we're telling. I think they're just nice atmos and opening. And we've had a bunch of rumors sent in already, and we really appreciate it. I thank you everyone who has sent in a little audio rumor for us to use in the show. It's always one of those moments because I don't get to hear these little bits until the episode comes out, that I look forward to. And yeah, so if you could take a moment to record a little rumor about anything you can think of, a reason why we escaped a prison, or why we broke in, or why there was a riot in a city, anything fun and unusual, please do send it along. That's me. That's just Ben, sans Declan, on a roll, talking all things what I'm up to at Athventure Con, all the things I'm looking forward to, all the people I'm looking to meet. There's so many people who've had an impact and have connected with this show in particular, with Ben and Declan On A Roll, that I haven't met in person before. And I'm very excited to introduce myself and say hello, and to sort of hope they'll be my friend, which is as honest and as genuine as I can be. I'm going to figure out how to raid, which I think I can just do by typing into chat, as far as I know. How do I do that? I do do it this way. Give me one moment. Talk amongst yourselves. I said figure out how to raid. Who's been streaming for over 8 years? No, can't be 8 years. Surely not. When did Homebrew start? 2018? Oh, goodness. 2019. It's close to 6. It is close to 6. But never has it been clearer that I just rely on my smart, clever friends. Let's see if this works. We're going to head over to raid the Emerald Collective, who you might remember I was talking about them earlier, because I'll be doing Whose NPC Is It Anyway with them on Saturday night at Athventure Con. But thank you so much for joining tonight's stream. Thanks for keeping me company. Thanks for letting me to chat about all the things I love talking about. I'm looking forward to this weekend so much. I honestly cannot wait. It's such a joy. Hopefully see you there if you are nearby. And if I don't see you there, then I'll see you next time on Ben and Declan on a Roll. Let's see if this works. Invalid username. Classic. Let's do it this other way. Do I just do it this way? Boom. Chat. The raid has been created. Well, look at that. Look at that. Raid's as easy as be. Your boy's grown up. He's a stream man now. That's been me. I'll see you next time. Let's go. Raid!